Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a weekend review for the week ending September 9th, 2022. We're looking at a daily chart of the S&P 500. We got a lot to talk about. Volatility is increasing. It's back, just like me, back from vacation. Sorry for no video last week, but sometimes you just got to rest. We've got monthly OPEX and quarterly OPEX. So I think we have a quadruple witching event this Friday. So expect volatility to increase into that event. And there's pretty much two things that can really happen from here. A rejection at this trend line, fall back to the demand line, i.e. Contract into the OPEX event, which is this Friday. So 5 sessions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, could easily contract and stay stuck between our supply and demand lines, these two red and blue lines that I'm showing you. That's one scenario. And then the move comes post OPEX. So they just take everyone's money. They're going to win anyways. Everyone loves to buy, 5 days, 30 days to expiration options, and they love to take your money. That being said, we've got 1, 2, 3 touches of this blue line. We've had 4 touches of this red line. We've had 3 touches of this line up here. So I'm expecting a big move to come. Price is below this POC, which is telling me to be careful. This could be distribution. We look at the weekly chart. Depending on how you want to draw this channel, there's no doubt about it. She's in a downtrend on this time frame. And more specifically on the monthly, right? Low, high, lower, high. Now trying for that higher low, okay? And what you get from a structure standpoint, what I like to look for is, do we have a zigzag or do we have a impulse? Zigzag would be corrective in an uptrend. Impulse would be start of a new bear market. And so how I tell, or how I look at that, really is the fibs. And that's telling me that this, because it hit the 1618, is likely a 3 within a 5. Now, when we talk about this move here, I've seen so many different ways to count it. That is my preferred. And if you look at that, we never got to the 1618. Okay? And the bulls put in an outside bullish reversal candle at the 1.0 extension, which is what you would want to see if, in fact, this is impulsive higher. You'd be looking for something like this. Then a 50% retracement back down to the 410 area, which sets up the same thing to happen again. And this is the fractal nature of these patterns. That being said, it's very subjective. So let's look at some more traditional trend following methods. And the ones that I use and I talk about all the time are the 510, the 1020, right? And is price above the 200? Is price above the 40? What is the slope? And if we zoom in here to the daily, we just had one of my favorite events, the 510 bull cross on the daily. And if we just go back and look at when these happened and highlight what happened right thereafter, you can see a very clear message. We got a buy signal. We got a sell signal followed by a buy signal. So this is whipsaw, but if your entry was here and you were patient, you did get your trade. Okay, now, so what's that mean? There might be some whipsaw here. That scenario we were talking about where they contract into OPEX. Definitely on the table. But from there, I'm expecting a bigger move. And when I look at this to me, resistance, break above resistance, back test. And what are they doing this on? You got to zoom out, right? They did this on the weekly chart. So resistance here, They never came back to test it on the weekly. They did on the daily, but you didn't see that on the weekly. And what did they do? They went up to the 40. They got everyone else that wanted to sell out. And as you can see, volume continues to decline. Not a good thing if you're a bear. You want to see bull volume decline and bear volume increase. And when I look at this momentum down here, histogram remains positive. ADX rose, right, on that move lower. So that's alarming for the bulls. But what you need to see is this outside bullish reversal candlestick confirmed, meaning close above 406 next week. I mean, some people would say, hey, look, you captured the 20 here, right? We retested the 20, closed below. That's the trap. Recapture, close above the high, 405.84, close 406, so everyone that was trapped is now in the money. That's how you get those flips that have legs, and they start from a weekly time frame. And I want to zoom out to the monthly to show everyone, is this the monthly higher low, or are they going to have to go all the way back down to 370 and test the 40 again? This monthly 40, this is so important. Because from the beginning of the bull market, which you could say started right here when they captured the 40, you've had a very reliable trend for long-term investors to follow. Now, they could stick around here and go sideways into the end of the year, and we understand that elections drive markets and that the presidential cycle is a very important cycle, meaning 2024 will be very impactful for markets. But this is a mid-term election, which is also important. But the point is if they give up the 40 like they did back here in 2001, right? They came into it, they bounced, they set a lower high, and then they lost it. They came back down to test it, and then really, if you look at where we were, that was only 11 months. And the next one was 18. So you have, really just the beginning type of thing, right? And here you've got just a little 6-month pullback. Now, what if we have another 18 bars, right? We're heading to the 200. That's what if. So, it's very early here, but the monthly could be doing one of two things. This higher low setup that I'm talking about, or this lower high rejection at the 10 and the 20, and boom, you're going to go lower. Price did not close above the 5 last month. Did not. And that 510 bear cross is gaining steam, and you see that here in the PPO. So, but I do say this all the time, right? You want to see some divergent high, which we don't really have. We just have a high that came here, right? Like back here, you have this high, then you come back up, set another high. Well, we don't have this. We don't have that, right? We just have straight off a cliff. So, reset to 0 is what you want to see. And ideally, you don't lose that. You don't lose the 334, right? Because that's telling you there's more downside momentum now than you had during COVID. The histogram's showing you that. So that's enough technicals here on SPY. I mean, I've spent almost 9 minutes talking about this particular setup, but the takeaway here in summary is that the monthly 40 is still holding. This is a potential rejection at the 10 on the monthly, and this is a potential monthly higher low. Prices below last month's low. That's 395.04. So I'm telling you, volatility is going to increase, right? Meaning they're either going to now look to close above the 431 high this month to confirm the higher low setup and put in an outside monthly bullish reversal, or they're going to close below 395.04 this month and likely start heading back down to the 375, which is, monthly 40 level. If we zoom back in, we got the outside bullish reversal, and the 510 bull cross is still in play. This is still a weekly bull trend that you can trade, and the daily trade is for the week buy any dips into the 400 level, and you want to see this 510 hold, and something like this is definitely possible, this sideways action. Now if we look at what's IWM doing, all right, a bunch of sideways, and obviously this 188 is a very important level, very, very important. And we don't have the 510 cross yet, but we do have everything else that you want to see. PPO, like impulsive move higher, PPO reset to 0. How do we know it's impulsive? We're going off of this fib extension hitting the 1618. If it only hit the 618, the 1, or the 1236, I'd say it's corrective higher. And this is one way that I can remain objective with how I draw my fibs. That being the case, there's a trend line here, right? Just like on SPY, everything is the same. Same downtrend. And we're going to get that, 183 buy setup this week, just like on SPY at 400. The Qs, same setup. Same exact setup. And structurally, I mean, this is how it works. Like, you don't want to be below this level. This recent low from September 6th, the bulls do not want to get below. Not for a day. I mean, we can come back down and visit, look below, and then get right back above. Like, a look below and fail is always acceptable. But you do not want to spend any time, any acceptance below the 9.6 low on essentially every single chart. Okay? And what we want to be looking for in this rally is, where is the relative strength? And I use TradingView for that. TradingView can do a compare function, and all of these are being compared right now. If you need to slow it down, you can go look. These are the tickers that I like to track. And so going back to this quarter, right? Because we got to think week, month, quarter, and we have to have our goals, and we have to try to achieve those goals against that time frame. If you're judging Q3 performance, it is undoubtedly true that CROX and IWM are outperforming everyone else. And CROX is my leader within IWM. ENPH is my leader within SPY. Tesla is the leader within the QQQs. And NVDA is the leader within SMH. And if you look at this chart here, SMH is underperforming year to date. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. NVIDIA year to date at the bottom of the list, -5. I mean, just absolutely horrible. And so you've got to identify relative strength. And I think there's no better way to do it than putting all of the assets on one chart and draw lines. And it's called a line chart. And if you don't own the things that are up here, then you're going to underperform on a quarterly basis. And so what's at the bottom? K-Web, China stocks, oil, DBC, commodities, TNX is up. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, right? If commodities and oil, if all of those things are down, you would expect TNX to also be down. They're positively correlated. So what's happening? You have a short-term divergence. One of two things is going to happen. TNX is topping right now, and the market knows it. That's why they're selling energy stocks and commodities. That's why you've got a distribution pattern on DBC. Or all of those stocks are about to play catch-up. But what I see here on a quarterly basis, not a daily basis, a quarterly basis, they are underperforming the risk assets. So it's hard to tell people that you need to be buying the dollar or put all your money in cash if ENPH and CROX are up 60% this quarter. If Tesla's up 30%. If Kronos, a pot stock, is up 10%. If Bitcoin is up 7%. Okay. So you have to look relative. And that's why I love this chart. Talk about all the time, should your money be in bonds? All I hear from people talking macro is sit in bonds and wait. Okay, well, here's what that looks like. You could also sit and SPY and wait. Now, maybe this is a double, triple top. I don't know. Maybe it's an expanded corrective pattern. Maybe this is a start of something new. I have no idea. All I can tell you is if you've been guessing bonds, you've been wrong for 2 years. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing more to say. I don't need to do the bonds game, right? I can put some of my money in bonds, but until this chart flips and this trend changes, and the bands will tell you exactly what I'm saying, is still in an uptrend. You got to play equities. You got to allocate into equities, despite what your opinion is. So now that we've done the review over there, I'm going to take a look at some of my favorite stocks, obviously from that list, ENPH. Okay, this certainly could be the wave 5. It's also possible this is still in a correction, okay? But what I can say is that this trend is up and that this blue line is your line in the sand. And if you need a better level, 282. They get below 282, you should not be in this anymore. But you look at this is a bull flag, textbook bull flag. And there's no reason this can't be breaking out, and that the pattern that's really in play here is this. Right? A look above and go. I mean, price was stuck in this trading range for almost 3 years. Or sorry, this is a weekly chart, not a monthly chart. Going back to 2020, right? She's been at 216 for 2 years, 2.5 years. So when you look at that, you have to keep an open mind to the idea that this, specifically the separation between all of these moving averages, the 510 being above the 20, that even a pullback to 200 is a strong buy. Strong buy. This momentum, you have to look at this. This ADX, they're all telling me that this is a stock that can outperform and can continue to outperform. Let's take a look at another one that can outperform. CROX, outside bullish reversal. Okay, every single dip now, going back to March, is in the green. Every dip has been bought. Every dip going back to May is now up 90%. 90%. Well, every macro head was telling you cash, 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 the George Nobles and all of these same ideas. They think they're unique, but they're all saying the same thing. And they're ignoring what's happening in the price action. That's all I can say. All I look at is price action. I'll let them do the macro stuff. I follow it. I know what's going on, but I'm in no way a macro expert. I follow the technicals. I'm very good at this. And this is telling me that this can go on for a very long time, right? When you have, a very, very big move, 2,000%, and then a very, very big correction, 75%. You have to be open to the idea that this 510 bull cross will last a lot longer than you think. Look at this. There's so many examples. All right? So you have to be open to the idea that when you do a big move, then you retrace 61% of it. And in this instance, you retraced 76%, which is another key fib. price then goes sideways down here for 3 months, that this is possibly a bottom. Maybe not the bottom, but if we're doing a retrace of 50%, remember that's the level. And we'd want to see price come up to here, which is another 60% higher from where we are now, before ultimately you see another one of these. One of those would happen from this pocket. They're not going to happen from this pocket. I hope that makes sense. All right, make this a little bit clearer for you to see. So I think there's plenty of opportunity left in these names. And I know people don't want to see it, but I have to cover CGC. I have no choice. Got the 510 bull cross. That hasn't happened since back here, 90% higher. Digesting supply at the 20. You see the volume decline. You see the PPO. You see the histogram. Now you see ADX curling up. You're watching the 10. I mean, it's as close to risk as you can get. $3. Look at this profile. Look on the right here. You see these bars. Okay? They represent where all the trading's been done. You go back to the IPO. This is where all the trading's been done. It's where it's all been done. And up here. All right? If you look at the weekly, if you look at the monthly, above the high of 317 is very bullish. This is the most volume candle you've had, and it closed above the low. Now, obviously in a downtrend. But that's the opportunity. Is this flipping? And if not, you're at $3 risk level. That's your level. All right. So I see this as a wonderful opportunity, something that hasn't been this way again since here. Right? 91%. Like that's how these trends work. When this 510 crossed down back here, no one would have thought that it would remain down for nearly 2 years. That's how these trends work. They go way longer than you think, and it's your job just to scan for them and to find them. And after a while, you'll see it's all the same names anyways. All right, let me throw out another one. Look at RIOT. Did RIOT just put in the higher low on the weekly? That's an outside bullish reversal candle. I mean, that's possible too. Who knows? Dude, we can do this subjective count game all day. We can do it all day. All I know is this looks very impulsive, right? Or it's even this. Why not? It can be any of these. Or it can be one of these. And this is just a zigzag, a corrective pattern. And it's not impulsive at all. It's really just some big ABC. Zigzags. We see these all the time. All right, within the context of a downtrend. Right back into that 618 retracement that we talk about. The 50 and the 618. The decline. Like, this is also a corrective pattern. All right, but PPO reset to 0. Bull cross, ADX coming up. Watch out. This thing could go all the way back to $10 in a hurry. And that's just how these high flyers work. And if you look at Tesla, right? We've got a very, because we want to go off of these names up here. You don't want to be guessing. You want to just take the names that are at the top, right? And we got to throw RIOT in there because that's my vehicle for playing Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin's positive, RIOT's positive. RIOT's leading on the quarter. All right, and what's not, we don't really want to talk about. All right, so let's just mark up this chart a little bit. Some things that I notice, right? So head and shoulders patterns, you really want a neckline that's horizontal. So from where I stand, below 180 is the line in the sand. All right. And until she gets above here, it's kind of range bound. Right. And that's why, I mean, there's definitely opportunity here. There's probably opportunity back to here. But ENPH is better. ENPH is at all-time highs. Right. Another one, Pan W. Right. Coming off all-time highs. We're going to find out real quick. Is this the start of a new move? Look at all those moving averages. Like, I just want to look at this. Look how close they are. 510 cross, but 20 cross below. Back above all of them. PPO back to the zero line, right? Resetting from 12 to 0. ADX neutralized, meaning this is how they're either accumulating or distributing. And we're going to find out soon enough. Monthly bear, right? But above the 20. So this is a beautiful trend. There's nothing wrong with this. And if you look at the price target based on this breakout, you know, it definitely could have another high. Now, if you draw it from here, that's it. Moves over. And if this is some ABC, something like that, right? I mean, maybe. And it's pretty uncanny, the timing that fits almost perfect. So, I mean, like, in terms of where I sit, you got to be careful going with some of these older names that have done really well. Here's your bond look. It's not good, right? Giving up this line is not good. Not good at all. Yeah, you shouldn't be in bonds, right? I've said this many, 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 many times. Shouldn't be in bonds. You look at Bitcoin. This is a big deal, okay? So PPO back at 0, histogram starting to curl, but 1, 2, 3, 4 should probably break this 17,891 low before reversing. And again, structurally, 1, 2, right, 3, 4 is possible. And forget all of that. That's subjective. You know, this is a bad look, right? What do I mean? Like, I've showed you a lot of charts where the 510 was bull on the weekly. Well, this just flipped. And this is a textbook bear flag. Okay? And I know structurally people want to say lots of different things because that's what the ego and opinion does. But from where I sit, it's a really, really clear ABC on the monthly. And 12 is next if they lose this. And really, you know, I mean, it's like if things get really bad in the next, you know, into the end of this month and to the start of next month, into the election, then this thing's going, you know, 11, 10. We're not getting the bounce where you would have thought, right? Just based on price action. Like, here's your trend line. And where's the bounce? There was no bounce here. At least not yet. And that's what RIOT could be showing everyone right now. So I'm watching Bitcoin. You know, the daily does have this look here, which is very positive. The 510 did just cross. So as long as she could stay above 19, again, the lows from 9.6 on every chart are the lows to watch. They are the lines in the sand. And you can't really get below them. TNX, as I mentioned earlier, this move just keeps going higher and possible another divergent high, the third one. Running out of steam. but still in this uptrend. That's why I keep looking at this chart. That's why I trade weekly chart patterns. Monthly PPO still looks amazing, but you have to understand where this has come from. And now the fever pitch in the air, right? Like everyone is saying that, it's hilarious, right? So you have for like 2 years, everyone saying the Fed has no idea what they're doing, right? Inflation is horrible. It's not transitory. All of those people, as soon as the past, like as of April of this year, when the Fed said we need to start hiking more, all of this, and all the way up until the most recent Fed meeting now, all they've been talking about is how the Fed doesn't get it, they don't get it, and now they get it. They get it. They're going to hike forever, and boom, that's how the markets are going to crash. And if you're just looking at this from a psychological standpoint, we call that acceptance. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't trade based on what the Fed says, so it doesn't mean anything to me, and that's that. Either way, I think I've covered all I want to cover. I guess we should look at XLE and these energy stocks real quick. This is a harbinger of death, right? These candles, these big candles, until APA can get above 51.95, this is a bit of a problem. That being said, 510 has not crossed bear yet, right? We still have this monthly bull cross, still have this trend to ride. You have to be patient if you want to be in at 11 and you're waiting for your exit. You gotta wait. Should you have trimmed? Definitely. But this is still long on the monthly. Technically short on the weekly. And so this is why my bias is definitely to the downside. This is a textbook breakdown of a rising channel, back test. PPO, though, got to 0 and is trying to curl up. Histogram's trying to get positive, but you can't. And until that changes, there is no trend down here. So from where I sit, this energy trade, and as I showed you in TradingView, which is why I love that line chart, this energy trade is dead. There just isn't a lot going on. That can change. It definitely can change. Got to get above last week's highs. Got to get above. DBC has got to get above 27. Has to get above 27. But yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you liked the content. If you do, share it, like it, retweet it, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.